Well, Kliff Kingsbury has just given us the Commanders' most direct confrontation of the Terry McLaurin situation. But what exactly did he say? And what will the consequences be? Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Full Command Show. My name is Grant Mitchell, and we are here to talk about everything involving the Washington Commanders. As I teased in the intro, Kliff Kingsbury, not going to say that he didn't hold back because he didn't go scorched earth, but he made some comments that were definitely addressed in the direction of Terry McLaurin. Also, we got more updates from the practice fields. Why are some players stepping up to the opportunity, and why are others letting it slip through their grasp? And who are the coaches looking at in particular ahead of the Bengals preseason game on Monday? Yeah, we got an awful lot to get to, guys, so do me a favor. I'm going to challenge you right now. It takes 2 seconds out of your day. Hit that like button. That is the number one way to support me, the channel, and the Commanders content. And I want to make sure that you guys get your daily uploads as always. So let's have a little trade-off. I'll let you know what's going on. You hit the like button. Again, it takes 2 seconds. It's the biggest way to help me out. So let's talk about good old Kliff. Kliffy, as the other coaches and Adam Peters like to call him, which is a little weird. I would not call him Kliffy. It's a little too personal for me, but hey, I'm not in the coaching staff. By the way, I'm just looking in the camera right now. It really is a shame. It's just dawning on me that this is like a Kelly green Eagles color, which is a shame because I actually really like this color on me and just in general. But maybe I feel like for the sake of the Commanders channel, maybe I shouldn't be allowed to wear it. Go to the comment section. Let me know. Can I wear green? Is that socially acceptable for a Commanders community? Okay, so let's talk about Kliff Kingsbury. He was speaking about the wide receiver competition before today's practice, and we got a direct quote here. Kliff's chill meter was on very low today. He was chill, but his comments weren't. He was asked about the receiver competition, and he said, quote, "Some guys are taking advantage of the opportunities, and some guys are not." That's the way things go in this world. Whenever there is an opportunity, everybody can't be the benefactor of it. So some people will seize it, and others will just let it slip by. My guess is for who is welcoming this opportunity, Jaylin Lane, because it seems like everybody is saying his name as a guy who's impressed them. I saw a picture of him earlier today, and I was just thinking to myself, man, we've heard Kliff praise him, DQ, Adam Peters, Zach Ertz, Debo. Everybody's talking about Jaylin Lane, so I'm excited to see him. Ja'Cory Brooks, for an undrafted free agent, for him to be mentioned as much as he has, I feel like he kind of has to be seizing the opportunity. Also led the Commanders in receiving yards in the preseason game. Let's not forget that. And then I'm also going to throw in Tay Martin, who was only signed like a week or two ago out of the UFL or XFL, wherever he was. Comes in, he was second in receiving in the first preseason game. He got some reps with the ones during practice. And again, he's not even a UDFA. I guess he's technically a class below that if we're separating everybody. But again, why are we mentioning his name? We should not be when the Commanders have lots of receivers who have been in the NFL / were expected to be on this team. Yet it's Ja'Cory Brooks and Tay Martin that we're talking about. Now, I'm not going to speculate on who's not seizing the opportunity because without me knowing for sure, that feels unfair to throw names out there. But with me saying that, why don't you just stop and think to yourself? Don't even say anything. Just close your eyes and think, whose name have I heard and whose have I not throughout the summer? And that probably gives you at least a 75% indication of maybe some players who are letting this opportunity slip through their hands. Now, let me not bury the lead any longer. Let's talk about what Kliff said in relation to Terry McLaurin. Now, he did not mention his name specifically, but I'm going to read you. They're long comments, but I'm going to read them to you, and you just let me know who you think he's talking about. I think it's a work in progress. There's no doubt. I don't think until we get some of these other pieces back, we're going to know exactly where we are or what we are. When you don't have your projected top 2 outside receivers or both of your projected guards, it's not going to give you really a chance to get or really build that relationship until you get everybody else on the grass. So that's something we have to get over in the next 3 weeks. That part, very true. And you know what? He could be talking about multiple guys here because Terry's had his holdout. Noah Brown, at this point, I'm not even sure if he's going to be on the roster. The last game he played in was on December 1st against the Titans. He has that injury. He's out for the rest of the season. He comes back at practice. He has another weird undisclosed injury that nobody seems to know anything about, and now he's not practicing, and now he's not playing in games. Is he ever going to play football again? I'm being a little tongue-in-cheek when I say that, but what is going on with Noah Brown? I've got no idea. Brandon Coleman injured his ankle. We also don't have updates on that. How serious is it? Sam Cosmi is the one guy who's kind of exempt from this because he tore his ACL in January, and we've all known his situation the entire time. But Kliff is right. Your outside starting receivers and both of your guards. It's almost worse that they're playing the same positions because you're going further and further down the depth chart to get replacements, and that really throws things off. As weird as it sounds, like if it was a tackle and a guard and you could just put them on opposite sides, right tackle, left guard, left tackle, right guard, it at least gives you a better idea of what you have with the pieces in play. But because you're going down to third and fourth and fifth stringers to be the replacements, that's where the issues arise. But let me now read you what Kliff says in this next comment, and let's, again, see who we think he's talking about. I'm huge on walkthroughs, on practice, things like that. Because until you actually get on the grass and actually do it and feel the timing, feel the depth, feel the routes, I don't know exactly how much you can get out of that. So I think we're at the point where we need to start getting those guys, when they're available, out there and start gelling on the grass. So he mentions depth and he mentions routes. I know that there's a cool formation in the college football video game where you can put 4 guys on your offensive line. And Tyler Warren caught a snap as the center out of that formation for Penn State last year. I don't think he's talking about offensive linemen, the missing guards, Brandon Coleman and Sam Cosmi. I don't think he's referring to them when he's talking about depth and routes. So he's talking about receivers, the 2 missing outside receivers. He says at the end of this quote, when they're available, get them out there. Noah Brown is not available because of an injury. Whatever that is, we don't know. Terry McLaurin wants a new contract, and I'm never going to suggest a player should not go after the money that they can earn, that they've earned and that they can negotiate. Because at the end of the day, you are worth what you negotiate. But Terry is not a free agent. Terry McLaurin is under contract. We are we're past the offseason. We're past training camp. We're at the halfway point of the preseason. If you look from, let's say, week 1, let's say the week that culminated in the week 1 preseason game against the Patriots, you go back to the start of that's week 1 of the preseason. And if the preseason is 3 weeks long, we're in the middle of week 2 right now. So we are about halfway through. Like I'm on the team. The Commanders have a home game against the Giants in 3 weeks and a couple of days. Kliff is right. And this is why I was making a big deal out of the joint practice the other day against the Ravens being canceled. Terry McLaurin is not playing against the Bengals. Let's make that very clear. The joint practice against the Ravens is canceled. So all that's available for him to get game speed reps before week 1 of the actual regular season is a week 3 preseason game against the Ravens. Starters historically do not play in week 3. That's reserved for guys who are competing to make the bottom of the roster. Now, this could be a little bit of a different year because the joint practice was canceled and maybe the team adjusts their plans and they play a couple of starters in week 3. But is Jaden Daniels going to be one of them? Are you really going to risk that? So is Terry's only possible game speed reps going to come with a backup quarterback? And in that case, what good does that do? Now, I'd shared a report, I believe from Lionel Willingham of 106.7 The Fan, that said Terry and Jaden have been throwing in the bubble. Cool. But there's a difference between just throwing 1 or 2 on 0 and there actually being a defense. There actually being a man that you have to beat. You have to get off your release, throw your moves, wiggle around, get open, then catch the ball. It's very different from I'm running in a straight line and I'm catching the ball and I'm learning the depth. So Kliff is emphasizing this. Now, Kliff Kingsbury, let's think about the things he's done in his football career. Believe he was a top 10 Heisman finisher 1 year in college. Am I wrong in saying that? Kliff Kingsbury Heisman voting. I want to say he was, in 2002, Kliff Kingsbury finished 9th in Heisman voting. There you go. Matter of fact, since we're doing a Kliff Kingsbury deep dive, let me just remind everybody of who Kliff Kingsbury is, because you know what, he didn't have a very good NFL career. He wasn't around very long, but of course, now I'm struggling to find his college stats. Okay. 9th in Heisman voting in 2002. Kliff Kingsbury in 2001 goes 25 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, has 3,500 passing yards. In 2002, he has 5,000 passing yards, 45 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, completes 67% of his passes. So he's an extremely accomplished college player. He has an NFL career. Doesn't really get on the field, but you know what? He wasn't better than Tom Brady. Mike Vrabel joked about that from his memories with Kliff before the joint practice. He's like, yeah, I remember Kliff, good guy, wasn't better than Tom Brady. Nobody was. But he was in the NFL. He'd been around at different spots. He's been a head coach in college. Wait, has he been a head coach in college? He's been a coordinator. He's been a head coach before. He's a head coach in the NFL. And I think he's worked with Heisman winners and Caleb Williams at USC. Like, he is not afraid to say what needs to be said. Now, Dan Quinn is in a different position because as the head coach, he needs to be diplomatic. He needs to release any tension that's in the room, never say the wrong thing, never try to castigate or outcast somebody, especially someone as important as Terry McLaurin. But Kliff, his job is not to oversee the entire team. His job is to get the offense to perform at an elite level. And I feel his frustration because if I have 22, 23 days to get my offense to the point where it is elite, because those are the expectations when you have Jayden Daniels. The expectations are you have a top 5 offense in the NFL. And how am I supposed to do that without my best skill position player, without my 2 outside receivers, and without my 2 guards? So I like that he's calling out Terry because, look, again, you're welcome to try to negotiate as much money as you want. But when we've been going at this for months, and when you are still under contract and you owe it to your team to be on the field, it's time to get out there. So I like that Kliff is taking that stand. Now let me talk about the other play caller, the other coordinator, Joe Witt Jr., talking about the defense. Not as hard-hitting quotes from Joe Witt Jr., but speaking of someone who is hard-hitting, he did single out Jeremy Reaves. He said that he wants to almost leave him on special teams because he's such an ace. However, he keeps making plays, and he has earned the right to be the 3rd safety on defense, and he wants to find packages for him on the field. I said a day or 2 ago that there was a report that the Commanders had seriously looked at using 3 safety looks all at the same time, most likely in a dime package. If they're going nickel, I would assume they would go 3 corners, 2 safeties. I don't know why you would flip that around. But maybe Jeremy Reaves is in on those dime packages. And dime was one of the favorite personnel groups the Commanders used last year. They'd put Frankie and Bobby in the middle of the field, pair them up with the pass rush, and then you got the defensive backs on the back end of that. Jeremy Reaves, he looked really good in that preseason game. He was getting downhill, making hard-hitting tackles. And Joe Witt Jr. said that he was impressed by him. He also said that the young linebackers will get a chance to show what they have this week against the Bengals. He said that the Patriots preseason game was not good enough. I found this interesting because if I'm looking at the Commanders, and of course I don't have this pulled up either, man, I'm unprepared today. If I'm looking at the Commanders depth chart, who could the young linebackers be? Because following the release of Dominique Hampton, we know that Kane Medrano is one of them. Jordan McGee has been a guy that I've been asking questions about all summer. Like, I believe in you, dude, but when are you going to play? When are you going to get on the field? And good news, both he and Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt did practice today. Today was a full padded practice. Both of them had the pads on, and they were not wearing non-contact jerseys. So that gives me some optimism he will be able to play in this game. But it's Ale Cajo, apologies if I butchered that name, Cam Arnold, Kane Medrano, and Jordan McGee. Those are the young linebackers. So who are those going to get on the field, and who's going to be able to impress in that Bengals preseason game? The linebacker room is a room that I've been heavily invested in, and I want to see it. Medrano, again, saw a lot of good, saw some bad. We'd like to see how he improves, hoping Jordan McGee gets out there, and we'll see what happens. Talking about practice today, not a huge update from what actually happened, but as I mentioned, Bill and McGee back on the field. That's good. Jayden had a couple of deep passes complete to Ja'Cory Brooks, referring back to what I was talking about earlier with Kliff Kingsbury, saying that some guys are seizing the opportunities. You should not be hearing Ja'Cory Brooks' name this frequently. I'm going to say it. He's an undrafted free agent. We should not be hearing his name, yet he continues to pop up. One of these catches was a very nice catch in the middle of traffic. JP Finley of NBC4 Sports said that Matt Gay went 5 for 5 in live reps kicking, made one from 50 plus. That's always good. We know the special teams concerns that the Commanders have had in years past. And Lionel Willingham of 106.7 The Fan, cool moment. Ryan Kerrigan was talking to Javon Kinlaw. He said, dude, I know you're going to be violent, but you're going to be a Pro Bowler this year if you get your technique right. So it's good to see the belief in Kinlaw. That's one thing that's really been evident from players and coaches and position coaches. Everybody seems to have this belief in Javon Kinlaw. He was labeled overpaid by a lot of people in the media, even some Commanders fans, probably a little hesitant to see what he does. But the potential is absolutely there. This guy was a first-round pick for a reason, and I have a sneaky feeling he will have a good year in DC for the Commanders. As a reminder, the Bengals preseason game is on Monday, so your game previews, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer than usual, but I will be providing it when the time comes. I'll be also providing a game reaction as soon as it ends. So do me a favor, guys, hit that subscribe button so you're always tuned in for my daily uploads. Hit the like button if you did enjoy this. Go to the comment section, leave your thoughts on everything in this video. The green shirt might not be the headliner, but do tell me what you think of that, but also about what Kliff said and all that stuff that like actually matters. Just go leave your thoughts there. That's going to do it for me, guys. I will catch you in the next one. And as I always say, have a great day.